The ideas that gave birth to our nation are the ideas that our nation is resistant to right now, and we should talk about that all the time.
In a world where narratives are shaped by corporations and gatekeepers, independent voices matter more than ever. Badlands Media brings together citizen journalists, researchers, and independent thinkers.
The truth is triggering.
Question the narrative. Explore the facts.
It's authenticity, courage, resilience.
Search for the truth others won't.
It's not about being first or being right.
The information war is changing.
It's about being authentic.
Embrace the friction.
Embrace the friction.
Shut the f*** up.
Authentically antagonizing. Join the movement.
I'm going to say how I feel.
Follow Badlands Media.
This is about the future.
The Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Mr. Vice President, I'm going off script again, I know, but I just want to personally thank you. We've been through some stuff. We've gone through some of the most complex military operations this country's ever conducted, and your steady hand and your leadership during those was a great source of strength for me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your character. Thank you for your selfless service. Thank you for commitment. Thank you for being a mentor to me, Mr. Vice President.
It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. Did I get that one right? Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today,
Congress, the chair declares the joint session.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Devolution Power Hour, as always. And unfortunately, I am joined by Burning Bright. Burning Bright, how are you doing this week?
Not too bad. We're just saying before the show, we've had a rainy summer, rainy July. Finally, we're getting some good days in August. So I've been hitting the beach at sunset.
Nice. You look so tan right now.
Yeah. Well, I said sunset. So in keeping with my vampiric ways, I don't get too much of that direct exposure.
That's
my vitamin D levels are cripplingly low.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty tan right now because we've had like a month of 100-degree weather, and we've just been outside quite a bit. My daughter's starting to get into basketball too now, and so like we're outside playing basketball quite a bit. It's been fun.
Is she a Sophie Cunningham fan? She's all the rage now.
I probably will never let my kids watch WNBA. So
it's getting a little more white though. If it keeps going in that direction, you know, I mean, well, according to the memes, I would never watch a game.
I don't know.
But
I think I'd only watch, I mean, I like the WNBA when people were throwing dildos on the floor. That's just me.
Yeah,
okay?
That's true.
That's when it was entertaining. Not as much anymore. But yeah, man, what a fun day. We got more documents today.
Yeah.
Did you hear?
Excited. I
You
heard.
seem real excited.
You I get excited when you get excited about documents.
I feel like that may not be totally true, but what is funny though is, you know how we always talk about reruns and whatnot? Yeah. Well, the documents we got today that are like making the rounds, everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's actually documents we got back in January of 2025 because of a FOIA request from somebody else. So we've had the documents already. I went back and confirmed it and found it. I didn't have it earlier for my show today, but I was like, I feel like we've seen this before. And we sure have. So we'll talk about that.
A very literal rerun.
There is a new aspect to it though. We finally have the name of the op, which is interesting, and maybe there might be some to it. I might even have a decode for you. You're gonna love it.
Okay.
It's super retarded, but it's a decode, so it's 100% accurate. Trust the plan. You guys are gonna love it. But it's so weird. Like when you think about it's literally a document we've had before. They're putting it out as if it's new and making this whole big like thing around it. It's like starting off John Solomon's campaign of declassification. He said there's going to be documents every day for the foreseeable future or something. We'll play that clip here later.
Is he averaging out like pages? You know, like 1 page per day. That would only be 365 pages of documents for a whole year.
Yeah, that wouldn't be ideal. But I don't know what he's saying. You know, John Solomon, he's been putting us on the rug for a little while now. He never used to do that. He used to be like good, and then he became a rug salesman.
He's having fun with it though, you can tell. So he's either just completely sold out, or he's excited because he knows stuff's getting more real.
Yeah,
all the stuff he was teasing us about for a decade.
We'll see what happens though. I'll let you guys be the judge. I'm excited to see your take on my comma decode. We also have, so last week, for those who watched, we did a little recap of the Devolution series, and I know it was a little disjointed, and it probably will be again tonight because we're going to probably get into the second part of that. I still am planning on doing like a single, quick half an hour video by myself. Like I'll record it, make it like nice and edited and whatnot, and produced, and put that out separately. But I know a lot of people thought it was fun going through stuff, but also with Devolution kind of hitting the mainstream, we had that Annie Jacobson going on Rogan, and they wrote an article about her in New York Post. And I'm getting a lot more requests for interviews, which is interesting, from like a couple bigger accounts. So I think
if you ask large language models about Devolution, does it bring you up a lot? It'd be hard if you're doing it from your account, because
you should try.
Because it'll bias. Because I'm wondering, you know, like I wouldn't say, oh, people are Googling around and finding you, because I don't think they find you or any of us very easily doing that. But, you know, if people are grokking around or ChatGPTing around in the media space, it probably is bringing you up.
I'm curious.
Because, for example,
you should do it on yours, and Chad, you should look it up too. Just say like, are you familiar with the Devolution
Have you heard about
theory?
the Devolution series? Do you know who kind of
I'd say the Devolution theory
popularized it? Devolution, right, theory, because then it'll look for the specific. But as a small, I always had obviously a much smaller following. But even if I ask about anything Sovereign Alliance, it will usually cite me and then maybe some other people after me. But then I don't know if they're plugged into your, like if you're asking an LLM, is it looking at who's asking it?
Yeah, because if I do it, I know that my like the AIs I use, I've fed them all my entire Devolution series.
Right.
So I don't know, but we're gonna get a quick word from a couple of our sponsors. We'll get into the John Solomon stuff. We'll probably do a little recap of a part of the Devolution series, thinking part 13 and how continuity government actually works. And then after that, we have a couple other random stories. So we'll see where it goes. Oh, also big news. I did get my haircut today, and my mullet is coming in pretty good. I don't know if you can tell.
Oh, no.
It's
not quite.
I mean, I got a ways to go, but it's like, this is the longest I've gone without cutting the back of my hair.
My son already has a mullet, basically.
Your son hasn't had a haircut ever, and it kills me every time you send a picture of him.
It's because he's committed.
I want to fly to Boston and cut that kid's hair.
I was actually saying a couple days ago, I was like, do you think I should ask John how to cut his hair? Because I don't think he's at the age where he's going to like sit down at a barber shop. I'll bring him to, he's not coming to Vegas, but he will be coming to Florida.
I'll bring my clippers to Florida. I bring my clippers everywhere I go. So
just in case.
It's part of my shaving kit. So in case I need it, you need touch-up spots.
Tonight on the beach, he saw a group of young women. There was probably like 12 of them who were out on towels with bottles of wine and everything, having like a girls thing. And he kept having me walk like near the water, kind of near them. And then he was looking back at me. I was like, do you want to go see them? Because I know that's what you're doing. He walked right over, right in between, and just hammed it up.
Wow.
He's got the bangs going. So I'm like, It won't always be this easy, man.
No, it won't.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Anyway, let's get a quick word from our sponsors, and we're going to start with some soft disclosure. For those who are wondering, first of all, thanks for all the birthday love yesterday. You guys are great. The best birthday present you could give me is giving yourself the gift of awesome soft skin. We have a promo code still going. Promo code birthday for 17% off on soft disclosure. Go get yourself some.
Soft Disclosure deodorant is made with purity-tested ingredients like organic arrowroot powder, magnesium hydroxide, and nourishing plant oils. This deodorant keeps you fresh without covering up the truth. Activated charcoal works like a magnet to help draw out impurities, while green matcha tea brings antioxidant power to protect and calm skin. Aluminum-free, stain-free, and formulated to last up to 2 months of daily use.
Whole bus fresh, no steak on me. Soft Disclosure got me clean. Fresh so loud, can't compete. Mint, lemon, grapefruit, lavender tea.
It helps fight odor without blocking the body's natural sweat. And every purchase helps support 6 American small businesses. Buy 2 deodorants, get a free lip balm. Or visit softdisclosure.com and use promo code FRESH for 15% off.
What are you doing?
Soft Disclosure got me clean. Fresh so loud, can't compete.
Have you seen that commercial before?
I have, but
Okay.
it's bugging me that tattooed teacher is teaching tattooed teacher.
Well, have you not heard of time travel?
I guess. The
It's
J
possible.
Train stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, it's such a great commercial. Green Star kills it again, as he usually does. We also got the Badlands shop up for tonight. You know, one of the easiest ways to support Badlands Media is just by shopping. Before you buy anything online, take a quick look at the Badlands shop first. We've got a growing list of companies with everything from outdoor gear and health products to security, apparel, and a lot more. Carry smart and live free with Silent Faraday bags, a simple way to keep your privacy secure on your phones, fobs, and devices. Make your backyard a little more awesome this summer with customizable heavy-duty fire pits from My Fireside. Both me and Burning Bright have one of those, and I love it. I don't know about Burning Bright. Need a little focus without reaching for another cup of coffee? Flowben's premium nootropic pouches got you covered. And yes, it's officially boomerang season. Grab yourself a custom Badlands boomerang from Wooden Boomerangs and have a little fun with it. Help support businesses that support Badlands Media. Head on over to badlandsmedia.tv/shop. You might find exactly what you're looking for. That's badlandsmedia.tv/shop. All right. And we do have a couple of responses we'll get to a little bit later, but let's start with, I suppose, the declassified documents. And I'm probably going to be scatterbrained with this again, as I was this morning, but it'll be fun to go through. And so have you looked at any of this?
Just the articles about it.
Okay.
But I haven't looked at the actual documentation.
Okay. So the FBI, this is what came out today. The FBI opened criminal probe into Trump as alleged Russian agent after Comey firing. Okay. Released today. Lots of hype about it. The White House Government Transparency Task Force, that's John Solomon's task force, released newly declassified documents Wednesday exposing an FBI criminal investigation codenamed Oxford, and the Oxford is spelt incorrectly. And also, if you look at the actual document, they replaced the second O in so the O and comma with a 0, again, to foil those pesky FOIA requests. The records show that the FBI opened a full investigation on May 16th of 2017, targeting President Trump on the theory that he may have been acting wittingly or unwittingly as a Russian agent when he fired FBI Director James Comey. The probe alleged Trump could be involved in activities on behalf of the Russian government that violated federal law or threatened national security. It also examined whether he obstructed the FBI's work. Acting Director Andrew McCabe and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein were advised on the opening of the probe. And actually, this isn't quite accurate because it was Andrew McCabe who advised Rosenstein on the opening of the probe. At the time this case was launched, FBI agents had already debunked the Steele dossier, cleared Michael Flynn of collusion, and been told Carter Page was a CIA asset. Lead agent Pete Stroke texted that there was no big there. Another lead agent, William Barnett, concluded there was no evidence of Russian collusion and wanted off the case, calling it a bad game of Clue. Despite that, the FBI still opened Oxford, and used it as part of the push to appoint special counsel Robert Mueller. Rosenstein, who knew the real reason Comey was fired involved mishandling the Clinton email case, allowed the probe to proceed and authorized Mueller. The case was closed on April 9th, 2019, shortly after Mueller's report, and no charges against Trump. The task force also released a stack of prior evidence that contradicted the investigation's original basis. So let me show you the actual documents from today.
Can I just say, though, that this triggers me before any documents?
Why is that?
Because I am one of the world's foremost opponents of the Oxford comma, to the point where I only very recently gave up editing all of them out of everything Ghost writes on the Substack.
He's a big fan.
He's a huge Oxford comma guy. And
him and James Comey would get along.
It's bad. Oxford commas are bad. You shouldn't do it. Most of you probably do, because you're a bunch of flea-bitten savages when it comes to your grammar. And, if you don't know what an Oxford comma is, you're probably using them whenever you link conjunctions together.
Yeah. There's an old post of Comey's. Yeah, here we go. Check the actual cover. I'm all about Oxford commas.
That's odd. That's gross.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he was psyoping us because he was against Oxford commas. I was like, maybe Comey is my homie.
No.
But nope, he's a big fan of them, which makes sense. So if you use them, you are Comey adjacent at the very least.
At the very least, Comey adjacent. So here it is. The newly declassified document. Here's the title of it. Oxford, Foreign Agents Registration Act, Russia, Sensitive Investigative Matter. And then at the direction of the Assistant Director of the FBI's Counterintelligence Division, following consultation with the Office of the General Counsel, the FBI is opening a full investigation based on an articulable factual basis that reasonably indicates that President Donald J. Trump may be or has been wittingly or unwittingly involved in activities for or on behalf of the government of the Russian Federation, which may constitute violations of federal criminal law or threats to the national security of the United States. The goal of the investigation is to determine if President Trump is or was directed by, controlled by, and or coordinated activities with the Russian Federation in a manner constituting a threat to the national security of the United States and or a violation of federal criminal statutes. In addition, this investigation will also seek to determine whether President Trump and others yet to be named obstructed and or conspired to obstruct any associated FBI investigation. Now, I want you guys to really focus on what this page looks like here. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you guys
Did we get a super redacted version of it back in the day?
Not quite super redacted, but this article, Real Clear Investigations, Aaron Mate, from January 6th of 2025. You scroll down and look, it's titled, FBI is Still Hiding Details of Russiagate, Newly Released Document Shows. And then here we go. We have a declassified document, which is the same one we just looked at, just minus the code name.
White redactions.
Yep. At the direction of the Assistant Director of the FBI's Counterintelligence, following consultation with the Office of General Counsel, the FBI is opening Oxford, So that's the only thing that's missing is the name of the document. But it's this has already been released. And there's some more stuff that's redacted in this one, obviously, but
could there be any reason that that the name of the operation is significant when it comes to other, as far as has come across your mind yet?
You know, I don't know. I know what I think I actually have a interview.
Give him the benefit of the doubt initially, just in terms of like, why would you redact that?
Let me show you McCabe. I think this is in 2019. Shoot, that's not it.
Unless they didn't want. Is Comey mentioned in this original one?
I don't think so. I don't know if he's mentioned in this one either.
Well, but that might be why, though, that they redacted Oxford, the first time around, because as you just demonstrated, a quick search is going to link
Oh yeah, he's in this one. Let me check.
Comey, he's in the original.
No, I don't know if he's in the original. I don't think he is. I think they redacted that part out.
Well, that's probably why. Not saying that's right or wrong. It's just that's probably why they redacted the name of the operation, because they're trying to, at that time, they didn't want it disclosed that this was related to Comey.
That could be true. But also, I mean, I'm just saying that we've had the document. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just I was purely curious, like, why would they, at that time when they're complying with a FOIA request, that's what they were doing, right? The original time. At that time, why would they feel the need to redact that specific thing? Besides, we don't want people to know the name of the operation. Why would the name of the operation be significant? Well, because maybe the name of the operation would disclose the operators.
Let me show you this. This is McCabe I was going through listening to McCabe. I found a clip of Kamala Harris grilling McCabe 2 days after Comey was fired. And it's actually kind of, maybe we'll even listen to it. It's actually kind of interesting to hear those two exchange. But let me go back to here. I think would be a good start.
And based on the suspicious conduct of Carter Page and George Papadopoulos, right?
That's correct. So it's a really good point. I think you have to go back even a little bit further. So at the end of 2015, of course, at the request of President Obama.
Reminder, this is after he's fired. He wrote a book. He's out making the rounds. And this whole book is called this segment anyway is called 9 Days in May. And they're going over the time period from when McCabe gets fired to when they launched the investigation into Trump. So in 2019, he's talking about the investigation. He's talking about Oxford comma, but most people think and kind of overlook that. And even I overlooked it sometimes and just assumed it was like the special counsel stuff or the Crossfire Hurricane thing that was already going. But they needed this investigation as kind of the stepping stone to get from Crossfire Hurricane, which had already been largely debunked and they didn't have a leg to stand on. After Comey got fired, they needed something to transition into the special counsel. They needed essentially an Oxford comma in between there. And so that's what they did.
Like an investigation handoff between administrations.
Kind of, because what happens is they open this investigation on the 16th. McCabe goes and meets with Rosenstein that day, tells him, and I'll show you that. That's on this next document that I'm going to pull up if I can find it. It's the one pager right here. On May 16th, 2017, at approximately 12:30 p.m., Acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe made notification in person to Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein of the FBI's opening of captioned matter. This verbal briefing serves to comply with the DIOG defined notification requirements. So then on the 17th is when Rosenstein names Robert Mueller special counsel. And I think Robert Mueller Rosenstein was in on it the whole time, because also at this exact meeting on May 16th of 2017, that is the meeting in which Rod Rosenstein suggested he should wear a wire to secretly record Trump. And he also supposedly discussed the 25th Amendment. In this article, it says it was spring of 2017, but there's emails. If I can find where I put them right here. Yeah, emails that were released. I can't remember who released these, but here's Adam Goldman from the New York Times sending in a request to the FBI. Mike Schmidt and I are preparing a story on Deputy General Rod Rosenstein. In a meeting on May 16th, 2017, with senior federal law enforcement officials in Rosenstein's office, Rosenstein raised the idea of wearing a device to record his conversation with the president. That's all according to McCabe's handwritten memos about the meeting. So anyway.
Well, I can debunk this right away because, as we know, those of us who've been around for a while, a very prominent Q account told us all that Rod Rosenstein was a secret white hat and had been the entire time. And in fact, based their entire online persona on the idea of a, shall we say, clandestine Rosenstein, until they, of course, rebranded into a different clandestine. But you wouldn't be suggesting that Rod Rosenstein was not a secret white hat the whole time, would you?
I don't think any of these people are. I don't think any of the FBI people are secret white hats. None of them. None of the ones that are this. I don't think Comey is. I don't think McCabe is. I don't think Pete Strzok. I don't think Lisa Page. I don't think Rod Rosenstein. And the reason I don't think that is because there is zero evidence actually supporting those things being true. And so why would I assume that because some anonymous internet accounts oh, but speculatively, the Q drop
especially
saves.
when they then
No.
rebranded their own names. So I think some people came off of that ledge, but never really said it publicly.
Anyway,
hey, we've all had these theories or parsed them back and forth. I don't think you should shut the door on anything. I'm just making the point that people have built their entire names literally in the InfoWars space on some of these theories. Yeah. And then when they back off of these theories, they don't correct the record in hindsight.
Yeah. And to be clear, I'm not saying it's not possible that that's true. Like, it could end up coming out that some of these guys are white hats and I was wrong. But like, I've gotten to the point where it's much more difficult for me to give the benefit of the doubt to people in that direction. With what we've been through. Like, I'm basically going to assume the worst of people until proven otherwise. And especially when there is literally not even, in my opinion, circumstantial evidence showing this stuff. Like, you're basically just saying, well, yeah, it's technically possible, and you're right, it technically is possible, but I'm not going to base how I operate on that.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this, we've joked about this as well plenty over the last couple of years. I joked about it earlier today in the Badlands chat, but and this is even a pointed joke that I need to that I've had to kind of program into my own psyche when it comes to this stuff. There does come a certain point where when you play secret white hat games so much and you combine that with literal readings of Patriots in Control, like very literal readings of Full Control, you start to get to a point where you go, there is no deep state, right? Like, I want to sit some of those anons down and be like, so if everyone was a secret white hat that was in the FBI, where was the deep state? Because, the whole birth of the truth community was the idea that U.S. intelligence, which is what the deep state was named after. I know a lot of people forget that.
Yeah, well,
it ends up becoming a tell-all.
It ends up becoming like the Michigan Whitmer kidnapping plot if there are no like actual deep state.
So who are we trying to get then? Anyway, it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, let's listen to this. This is McCabe, 2019, talking about the opening of this Oxford Comma investigation into Trump. And at some point here, he is even asked, like, they had a code name for Crossfire Hurricane, the mid-year exam. Like, did this one have a code name? And he's like, I can't answer that.
We, together with our colleagues at the NSA and CIA, put together what we refer to as the ICA, the Intelligence Community Assessment. And that was all of the intelligence that we had at that time that would indicate any level of Russian involvement or meddling in the election. It was the ICA. In the ICA, we concluded.
And so, by the way, that ICA, this is before Executive Order 13848 was out there, where it was required. After the election, Obama directed the heads of the intelligence agencies to put out a Russian-focused ICA showing that how Russia interfered in the election. That was all predicate, I think, to get to this moment where they could spin up the Russia collusion stuff, because they already knew that the Clinton campaign had paid for all the dirt on Trump and whatnot. And there's already so much stuff going on in the works. So keep that in mind. That's the ICA he's talking about. These are now required by Executive Order 13848.
As an intelligence community, that absolutely the Russians had interfered in the election, and they had done so for a variety of purposes. So
I'm sorry, I was listening to this at 1.5 speed. I'll slow that down. Go to like 110.
With that knowledge that the Russians have meddled in our election, we then come across the information about people like Carter Page, about people like George Papadopoulos, that leads us to open the very beginnings of what I will refer to as the Russia case, right? That's the investigation into whether or not people in or connected with the Trump campaign may have colluded with the Russians.
And keep in mind, I'm going to be interrupting this quite a bit because he is so full of shit. At this time, they had all those things were already debunked. The stuff that he talked about, the Papadopoulos, the Carter Page, every predicate they had was completely debunked, and they knew about it. They had met with Danchenko. They had met with all these people. They already knew, but they didn't care. They moved forth with it anyway.
Did that have a code name? The Clinton email investigation was called Mid-Year. I learned in your book. What did the Trump investigation have a code name?
It did, but the FBI has asked me not to share that,
classified.
So I won't.
Is the existence of the counterintelligence investigation?
That they're talking about Oxford Comma right there.
Also classified?
The existence of the investigation under most circumstances is sensitive. And the way the FBI kind of adjudicates these things is once these issues have been publicly acknowledged, they're
Trump
no longer...
tweets about him.
In this case, that's exactly what happened. So I'm very careful in the book not to step over that line. And that's after an arduous...
By the way, can you pause that?
Several...
They reference Trump's tweets in public communications in the context there. But keep in mind, guys, that before Trump came along, what he just discloses there is the reason for the wrap-up smear template that Pelosi talks about, right? So often when we talk about the wrap-up smear, we're talking about, taking down political opponents, that kind of thing. But the real juice of the wrap-up smear, the real, intelligence work behind it, is that the wrap-up smear presents the opportunity for U.S. intelligence to disclose intelligence in a publicly damaging manner. Yeah. So it's like the media, the U.S. intel clandestinely goes to media, unnamed, of course. Media publicizes the intelligence. Politicians weaponize the intelligence. Intelligence then gets to respond to the weaponized intelligence. So it's a perfect cycle. I know it's somewhat obvious, but that's really, it's actually kind of interesting to think about it from the opposite angle when he's saying that, because the fact that they're saying Trump was talking about this publicly implies Trump, and Trump's been doing this for 10 years, he cuts that wrap-up smear cycle in half and comes out and starts talking about stuff like this. For sure. And I actually, it's funny you say that, because I talked about the wrap-up smear. I like to call it the pap smear on my show earlier today. And we're going to get into another part of this when it comes to the timeline here and Comey leaking to the New York Times and that being used as justification by the FBI to be like, okay, well, the New York Times, we better open an investigation into this, because that story, it's a loop. Yes, exactly. We'll get into that in more detail here in a second. I think we're done. Well, let me play a little bit more of this.
Month period of going through pre-publication review at the FBI. And then, of course, after that period, the existence of the case was discussed in the media, and then the president very quickly responded to those media articles and in his own communications essentially confirmed the existence of the case. So that's where we are.
And by tweeting at all the people involved with it, and I guess ultimately decimating the senior leadership of the FBI that opened these cases, the first cases in the summer of 16, and really all the intelligence officials from 2015 are gone as well. Did you ever talk amongst yourselves that you felt, I mean, if this were in a Tom Clancy novel, it would be a very odd.
Okay, I think I'm going to stop that there because he said it, but you got it anyway. They brought up the mention of the name. And that's kind of what I want to key in on, too, is the Oxford comma aspect of it. James Comey, he was a big fan of Oxford comma. A lot of people are speculating, did they name it Oxford comma because this was like the retribution for Comey? Right. There's a timeline that came out. So once Trump was elected president, I think it started January 6th, they go to brief him. And there were multiple times that Comey met with Trump. And every time he met with him, he'd come out of there and he'd make memos of the meetings. And they ended up doing an inspector general's investigation into Comey and his memos because some of them were confidential or classified and got leaked, and they wanted to figure out how that happened. And so I have the timeline here from when he gets fired through May 17th. And I think if there's interesting, and this is going to lead to some other things. President Trump removes Comey as FBI director and orders that Comey be barred from entering FBI headquarters. That's on May 9th of 2017. Now, he was supposedly in California when he got fired. And so how did he get the memos? That was a big thing at the time. And what's actually interesting, let me show you this. Kamala Harris, you guys are going to hate it, I know, but I think this will be worth it. Because she talks about, was somebody able to go in and secure the evidence that he had on his laptop or what in his possession? Here, let me share this.
His office, it was actually in California. So my question is, who was in charge of securing his files and devices when that information came down that he had been fired?
That's our responsibility, ma'am.
And are you confident that his files and his devices have been secured in a way that we can maintain whatever information or evidence he has in connection with the investigation?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
It's been widely reported, and you've mentioned this, that
I'll stop that there. But I just thought that was interesting. This was 2 days after Comey was fired. Okay, the May 11th, that this Senate hearing took place.
Even there though, and I know that this is redundant to a lot of people, but like, look at how she starts every exchange, and then think about this with every congressional committee that you've ever heard. She starts every exchange with, to her, friendly intelligence. She's talking to an intelligence asset that is on the same side as her. Of course, the normulators don't know that, but she frames every question with, it has been widely reported that, which, as John mentioned, intelligence leaks the reports to the media publicizes the reports, that grants politicians access to the reports that they already had access to without violating any national security laws. So, which is why this whole dialectic is one of the examples of why I think, and many in this community would agree, that arrests and prosecutions of media assets would change the entire paradigm, because I would argue they are the most important link in that chain. Without the media apparatus, Kamala Harris would not be able to disclose the things she's disclosing in the question she's asking McCabe, and McCabe would not be able to respond. Both of them, in doing so, would be violating national security laws. The apparatus that allows them to keep from violating national security laws is the protections that the First Amendment grants to American journalists.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you know what? I think that makes me want to go back and play some more of this clip before we go on, because she gets into a couple things. Keep in mind the date on this. May 11th. This is technically 5 days before Oxford comma is opened, which is the actual official counterintelligence investigation. And then the next day it's special counsel. So they are still looking for justification and reasoning to like get that stepping stone in place, because they all want the special counsel. And there's even, she might even ask a question. It's either before this or after this. I'm not going to go back and find it if it is before this. But she even asked, like, do you think there should be a special prosecutor? And he's like, that's not my job to determine.
Director Comey asked Rosenstein for additional resources. And I understand that you're saying that you don't believe that you need any additional resources?
For the Russia investigation, ma'am, I think we are adequately resourced.
And will you commit to this committee that if you do need resources, that you will come to us, understanding that we would make every effort to get you what you need?
I absolutely will.
I understand that you've said that the White House, that you have not talked with the White House about the Russia investigation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Have you talked with Jeff Sessions about the investigation?
No, ma'am.
Have you talked with anyone other than Rod Rosenstein at the Department of Justice about the investigation?
I don't believe I have.
And this is all still Crossfire Hurricane that they're talking about. But in my opinion, I believe that the whole goal here between the intelligence community, the weaponized intelligence community that have been conducting illegal psychological warfare campaigns against American people for the last 7 years, them, the Democrats, the media, all of them, maybe the Uniparty too, they're trying to steer this towards that special counsel. Like they're trying to start the wrap-up smear. They're already doing it many times throughout this, like you were saying, to get that going.
Not recently. Obviously, not in the
last 48
hours.
This
position. No, ma'am.
Okay. What protections have been put in place to assure that the good men and women of the FBI understand that they will not be fired if they aggressively pursue this investigation?
Yes, ma'am. So we have a very active lines of communication with the team that.
Did you hear that? What guarantees can the good men and women of the FBI have that they will not be fired if they aggressively pursue this the Russia investigation to Trump, which they, again, at the time already know is completely debunked? Insane.
That's working on this issue. They have some exemplary and incredibly effective leaders that they work directly for, and I am confident that they understand and are confident in their position moving forward on this investigation, as my investigators and analysts.
Okay, there's one more part I want to find real quick.
One thing again, on a different track of what I'm talking about with the loop there and the wrap-up smear. Again, might be old hat to a lot of this audience, but look at, like, if you just even examine how they're having this exchange, it should be very clear to this audience that McCabe is the one who knows and is leading the direction of the questioning. Kamala Harris is performing her responsibilities this is my opinion, in accordance with a briefing she has received from U.S. intelligence.
For sure.
Because there's a couple of times that she amends her question, not her answer, her question, based on McCabe's lack of response.
Yep.
And like he is leading her because they've practiced this. And again, that's easy, but you'd say, well, why? Why would they do this? And a huge part of this, in my view, is trying to get all of this stuff onto the public record and the legal record. If you basically what we're dealing with here, even in the present time, which is why this stuff is resurfacing under the Transparency Board and all that, is the idea of weaponized intelligence. So you go all the way back to these hearings, and intelligence is constantly trying to give themselves legal shields in the future, for the future. And that's a lot of what these committees are doing, which I'm not arguing this firmly, but it's worth thinking about this in light of things like very performative hearings that are going on right now, even if there are not Democrats. No. You know, like it's one of the many angles to look at these hearings when you've got politicians asking these witnesses things in committee hearings. People look for prosecutions resulting from the hearings, but I would argue that often it's the opposite, and that the things you're saying in these hearings, it is more difficult to prosecute you regarding them than less difficult.
Yeah. Let me play this next part, because there's something that he says here which completely debunks a lot of the obstruction of justice thing that they're going after Trump for.
And how do you believe we need to handle, to the extent that it exists, any crisis of confidence in the leadership of the FBI, given the firing of Director Comey?
I don't believe there is a crisis of confidence in the leadership of the FBI. I suppose that's somewhat self-serving, and I apologize for that. It was completely within the president's authority to take the steps that he did. We all understand that.
Did you catch that? It was completely within the president's authority to take the steps that he did. We all understand that. In my opinion, kind of flies in the face of this part of the investigation, Oxford comma, where they were going to, part of the investigation, the FBI is also seeking to determine whether President Trump and others yet to be named obstructed and or conspired to obstruct any associated FBI investigation by firing Comey. That's one of the things they looked into.
Yeah. Also worth pointing out, second intel asset we've watched clips of in 2 weeks, and both of them low T. Low testosterone. You could diagnose that, just by looking at them. So kind of, there might be a testosterone crisis in U.S. intelligence.
Yeah. Now, so think of what we just saw there, the clips of McCabe kind of laying the groundwork, the pap smear we're talking about. Back to the timeline of Comey. May 11th, New York Times publishes an article regarding the January 27 dinner meeting, described it in Memo 2, stating that Trump asked for Comey's loyalty. Richmond acknowledged that he was the source for the article and that Comey had described to him what Comey said was President Trump's request for loyalty at the dinner. At that time, Richmond had not yet seen Memo 2. May 12th, President Trump tweets about the possible existence of tapes of his conversations with Comey. Who knows if that's him having the tapes or Comey? Doesn't say there. May 14th, Comey sends scanned copies of Memos 2, 4, 6, and 7 from his personal email account to the personal email account of one of his attorneys. And then on May 16th, this is the big one, Comey sends because this is the same date that Oxford comma was started. Comey sends a digital photograph of Memo 4 describing the meeting in which Comey wrote that President Trump made the statement about letting Flynn go to Richmond via text from Comey's personal phone. Comey asks Richmond to share the contents, but not the memo itself, with a specific reporter for the New York Times. Comey's stated purpose is to cause the appointment of a special counsel to ensure that any tape recordings that may exist of his conversations with the President Trump are not destroyed. that implies that I think Trump would have those recordings, but we have not seen those recordings. Anyway, Richmond conveys the substance of Memo 4 to the reporter. The New York Times publishes an article entitled Comey Memo Says Trump Asked Him to End Flynn Investigation. If you actually go to that article, which is right here, Comey Memo says Trump asked him to end Flynn investigation. This part right here, this documentation of Mr. Trump's request is the clearest evidence that the president has tried to directly influence the Justice Department and an FBI investigation into links between Mr. Trump's associates and Russia. And then what happened that same day? Back to this article, or back to the newly released documents on May 16th, May 2017. They opened the investigation, Oxford, comma.
Yeah. So that was the predicate, and again, part of the smear you're talking about, part of the wrap-up smear. They were seeding. It's actually illustrative for all of us. We all, I think most of us at Badlands and who watch us, kind of use the reverse indicator idea. We follow mainstream media because they often present reverse indicators. You can learn a lot watching things lie, all those things we know, right? But this specific context demonstrates that often, especially when it comes to investigations and things like this, they're not deploying narratives in the way many of us often thought they were. But by that, I mean, did that headline by the New York Times, did that article by the New York Times damage Trump at that time on some reputational level? Sure. But I think a lot of us stopped there years ago. Oh, they're trying to convince everybody that Trump is a Russian asset. That's part of the op. But this context, the wrap-up smear context, specifically from the perspective of U.S. intelligence, shows you that often these media articles that we're seeing, when they're being deployed in real time, are themselves being used at that time by the intelligence community as predicates for intel operations. And I think usually we've thought about it on the other side of the cycle. We've thought about the intelligence community is feeding information to the media, so the media can use that intelligence and weaponize it against the president. But I think often, or maybe more often than we've thought, it's actually going in the opposite direction. And the media is granting intelligence the predicate because now, whatever year this was, intelligence can look back on this when they're called in before committees or judges in the future and can say, look, it was being reported and it was widely disseminated and feared that the president was engaged in basically treasonous activity, which is why we then did what we did. It's not going to save them, but...
What's even more fascinating here, the added piece, the added wrinkle is March 22nd of 2017. There was already plenty of leaks to the New York Times. And this is an old declassification that we've talked about before. But March of 2017, John Durham, yes, that John Durham, was tasked with investigating the leak of classified info to the New York Times. His investigation revealed that James Baker leaked it with the instruction and authorization of James Comey. Durham recommended no prosecution of Baker or anyone else. So that's another aspect I always found interesting of this. Everything you said there was spot on about the intelligence community uses the media, they go hand in hand. I repeat myself there, to fabricate all this stuff. That's what they did with the entire Russia collusion hoax. They just give the platform to the intel community. How it's become commonplace right now that heads of these intel agencies go on to be regular contributors at mainstream media outlets. When has that ever been a thing? When did that start being a thing? 2016. Brennan, Clapper, McCabe, all these guys are making the rounds in all these TV agencies or TV media stations. It's ridiculous. It's all propaganda and psyops. And then
even that's kind of funny because you think on the one hand, they're sort of revealing what all of us know in this little corner of the internet, which is that most of these media apparatus are intel, or at least they're, as you said, they're hand in hand with intel. But under this context, it's is it a stretch to suggest that some of these intel guys flee into the media for protection? where I think a lot of us have like, because I would argue, or at least I was taught when I was concentrating in journalism in school before I left that, some of the strongest legal protections any American has against the government is in the media. If you are recognized as a media operative.
Sure.
So it's just, I'm not saying that's the primary deployment. I think these guys are going on there to legitimize their own intelligence or somehow legitimize the institutions. But it's another way of looking at it of like, a CNN reporter or a New York Times reporter has more legal protections for releasing this information than the intel assets that are releasing it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Which is crazy.
That's an interesting thought. I always viewed it though as more like maybe that's an added benefit, a little cherry on top for them is like the legal protections that could come with it. But to me, it's like what better place for these people to go when they get fired or retire from the intelligence community than to just go to like, this is almost as if they're going to a think tank or a lobbying firm or whatever. It's like, well, when you retire from the intel community, you just go on mainstream media and you're still doing the same work. You're just doing it for publicly instead of privately.
And you don't have to be as careful anymore because you can just say everything is protected by the First Amendment, right?
Yep.
You're no longer bound actually by national security laws.
You're absolutely right.
Well, you are, but you've got this added layer of protection where you can say that you're editorializing.
Yeah.
You can't say you're editorializing if you're Andrew McCabe talking about intelligence investigations.
Yeah, no, I get that. Interesting. I do want to get into my decode next.
Yeah.
I think you're going to love it. But before we do, we should probably get a quick word from our couple of final sponsors, kind of tonight's show. First up, we got Rumble Wallet.
Notable this week.
Yeah. This is a paid advertisement for Rumble Wallet. Rumble has compensated me for this ad. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary. Offer available to U.S. residents only. Offer not available in New York State. Must be 18 plus. Offers available for a limited time and for the first 250 wallets activated and funded. Restrictions apply. Details and full official rules available at rumble.com/promo official rules. So that was a disclaimer. Quick question. How much control do you have over your money right now? Technology has changed everything. Now it's changing how money works. Crypto started as a niche, but now it's going mainstream with faster payments, more control, and fewer middlemen. This isn't just hype. It's where things are going, and getting started today is easier than you think. With Rumble Wallet, you can buy Bitcoin, hold dollar-backed stablecoins, and even own digital gold backed by real gold, all in one place in a non-custodial crypto wallet, which means you, not a bank or a platform, controls access to your funds. Setup is simple. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your debit card, credit card, or bank account and be up and running in just minutes. And for a limited time, you can start your wallet with $20 in US stablecoin by downloading the Rumble Wallet and entering the exclusive promo code DPH20 when you sign up now. You can even use your Rumble Wallet to support your favorite Rumble creators, like those of us here at Badlands, directly. So do it now. Scan the QR code. Click the link in the description of this video or go to wallet.rumble.com/DPH and download Rumble Wallet. From there, you can set it up and enter promo code DPH20 and get your free $20. It's a limited time offer, so act now. Take control of your money and get started with Rumble Wallet today. Again, terms and conditions apply. Go to rumble.com/promo official rules for details. Kind of a lame little disclaimer they're making us read now. It kind of throws off the vibe of the whole thing.
Yeah, I get it. For anybody that somehow is not aware, just in case, you can even reach one person. If you had your Bitcoin on a cold card hardware wallet, you need to do some research tonight and get it off of there.
What, a cold card? That's the brand?
Cold card is the brand.
So not Trezor?
No. So far, there is no other hardware wallet company that's been affected by any of this. Basically, what happened is, in layman's terms, when you get a hardware wallet, your Bitcoin is obviously not sitting on the hardware wallet. It is on the Bitcoin blockchain ledger. A lot of people still don't know that because it's weird. Your hardware wallet is merely holding your seed phrase. It is holding the key, the code, that gives you access to your Bitcoin on the ledger. So when you buy a Trezor, when you buy a Ledger, when you buy, there's many of them, a cold card, there are different wallets where you generate your wallet, you generate your private key, and that's where you send all of your Bitcoin to on transactions if you do cold storage. The way that these wallets generate a seed phrase is using 256 bits of entropy, which another layman's terms way of thinking about this is that if you had as many guesses in about a 10-second window as every atom in the known universe, you could not crack 250 bits of entropy. So that's how these codes are generated. What was discovered last week is that people who had cold card hardware wallets, when they were generating their seeds, the seeds being generated were using 40 bits of entropy, not 256 bits. So what's really tragic about this is that a lot of Bitcoiners spend $100 million and plus counting. They're not big time exchanges. They're individuals with like a quarter of a Bitcoin on their cold card. They did everything right. They bought a cold card. They generated their seed phrase. And because of a code error, and I'll let G Money maybe go into more of that. I think he might do a show this week.
I think he just did it.
Did he just do it?
Today, yeah.
Okay. So watch that. He'll have way more information on this, but essentially there was an error in the cold card firmware that led to this that nobody caught apparently. So yeah, as far as we are aware, no other hardware company is compromised. It's also been like 3-4 days, and basically every person on the internet in the Bitcoin world has been poring over the firmware code of every other hardware wallet, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's a little weird where this hardware wallet company, apparently, I didn't use a cold card, but they had a good reputation, but apparently their reputation in the last couple of years had soured a bit in the maxi world because they had been really aggressive with people looking at their code and different things like this. And I don't know, one wonders if this was a bit of an inside job.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Had to have been. Anyway, thanks for that info. That is interesting. And I would encourage you guys to go watch G Money. I think him and Pip did a show.
Okay.
Pip hasn't been busy working away, and it's nice to have him back. So I'd go check that out, guys. What was I going to do? Oh, we have one more thing I want to talk about really quick. And actually two more things. First of all, if you guys go to badlandsmedia.tv/events and click on this little Vegas icon there, we are returning to Las Vegas for the 13th stop on the Great American Restoration Tour, Thursday, September 17th through Saturday, September 19th, obviously this year. You can get early bird pricing for virtual tickets and save $10, and that is good through August 15th. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/events again and get those tickets in person. VIP is still available, and then obviously your virtual tickets. We'd love to hang out with you. Vegas is a great venue. It's easy to get to. We had a pretty good crowd last time we were there. I'd love to match or exceed it if possible.
Tell me in the chat who's coming to Vegas.
Yeah. Be a great time. Unrelated, I'm going to Vegas tomorrow. EC was here. Are you going to be there during our conference? Because that'd be cool. I know you said you were going to bring your mom, so you said that in Deadwood. Also, real quick reminder that this coming Sunday, I will be in Jupiter, Florida. We're going to be doing a Badlands meetup. It's going to be from 2 to 4:30 in the afternoon. The location is still undisclosed, but you can get it if you RSVP to attend. badlandsmeetups@gmail.com. I'll be there. CanCon will be there. JB White will be there. A lot of the responses we've gotten about the venue, too, have been like, oh, my gosh, that's the best place to do it. So you guys will love it. You'll have fun. If you're in Florida, come hang out with us in Jupiter for the afternoon. It's going to be a great time. We're looking forward to seeing you guys. And this one's free. You just have to pay for your own like drinks and booze or drinks and food and stuff. But to attend, it's free. So awesome stuff. Okay, let's go to my decode because I'm pretty excited about this. So again, if you think about, I want to come back to this idea here. Okay, this is what we got today. This is what we already had here. And obviously there's some more stuff that was revealed today that we didn't already know, but we had the principle of it. We just didn't have the name of the investigation. So obviously what comes out today is that it's Oxford, comma. Oxford is spelled wrong. And also that is a 0, not an O.
Oh my God.
In comma. So like that's to foil the FOIA stuff. But my theory is that like even though the intelligence community was always up to shenanigans, Trump did have good people. Not maybe inside the FBI and those people, but I always think like NSA or military intelligence or whatever that was helping Trump. Like, this is what they're up to now, right? So if you go and look at Trump's Twitter archive around the time that all this stuff was going on, Trump has a lot of interesting posts. Okay, so like here's one from the day that they opened the investigation. I've been asking Director Comey and others from the beginning of my administration to find the leakers in the intelligence community. Turns out it was James Comey himself.
It's so great to see these messages because you can also read these as taunts.
Oh yeah,
at
for
that
sure.
Time. Right.
But now let me show you this one. So this was May 18th of 2017. With all of the illegal acts that took place in the Clinton campaign and Obama administration, there was never a special counsel appointed. He deleted that one. And then about 3 hours later, he reposted it. With all of the illegal acts that took place in the Clinton campaign and Obama administration, there was never a special counsel appointed. The post that he deleted, Bernie Bright, do you notice what's extra there? Did you see it?
Oxford comma.
It's technically not an Oxford comma.
Yeah.
But it is a
strangely
comma
placed
where it shouldn't be, which technically makes... Oh, that still isn't an Oxford comma, but regardless, he deleted the post with an extra comma and then put one up that didn't have that comma. The investigation's name was Oxford
that is
comma.
A decode.
That's a decode.
It is a decode. That's a real decode. I would accept that.
You're welcome.
Under evidence.
You're welcome.
Misspellings matter. Deletions matter. Oh man, that's so good. And it's not like it's shocking to anybody who thinks that Trump knows what he's doing and that he has had people behind him that know what they're doing. But I say this often in different contexts. We use terminology like information warfare and shadow warfare and psychological operations and fifth gen warfare and intelligence warfare so often. And sometimes we're using it sort of softly. But this is an example, with the benefit of hindsight, of really seeing the sort of spy versus spy that's been going on this whole time. And I don't think this is a controversial take. Just like we're saying, you can in hindsight read these posts by Trump as being taunts, the deletion, etc.
Yep.
Telling the intel community, we know about Oxford comma. That's what that is, right? That's what they would be doing. If you're telling the enemy you know what they're doing, in most cases, you're in the power position. You know, like there's an argument to be made that sometimes you bluff and you are trying to provoke reactions. There could be some of that going on. They're trying to spook the intelligence agency. That's why they call them spooks. But I don't think those are mutually exclusive positions. In other words, I think this is really the best framing of Patriots in Control for me. Is they have the intelligence. They have perfect intelligence. They know what intelligence was doing. They know everything. The Q refrain that I totally agree with, and the Trump refrain, because he has said it word for word, we have it all. I think that is what I think of as full control. If in an information war, you have access to perfect intelligence, I think you have some measure of control over the final outcome. How you get there, I think there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of game theory. There's a lot of things you don't see coming. There's damages that are incurred. And that's where I think all the info warring and the shadow warring in the interim comes from. But, this is just one small example, the Oxford comma thing, where you look back and you go, not only did they know what U.S. intelligence were doing, I think more notable about those public communications you're highlighting is they were letting intelligence know that they knew in real time. The operative question after that would be, why? Yeah. Why would they be trying to let intelligence know? Is it, I'm saying, taunting? But they wouldn't, in all honesty, if there's no operational reason to do it, I don't think they'd do it. I don't think they'd just taunt for the sake of taunting. But were they provoking people? Were they trying to spook reactions? Were they trying to get people to flip? And was this their way of telling some of these intel assets at the time, if you signed on to this op, or if this op has come across your desk, we know about it. Just FYI.
My real assumption here is that wasn't like a direct threat. Like everything you said, I'm not trying to like take away from what you said, because I always assume, like when look at this decode, I'm joking mostly, but the funny thing is that like everything you said is totally possible. Like even though I was joking about that being a thing, like that could have totally been a real thing. And he like, look guys, I got you. Check this out.
Well, either way, the Comey comment is a more direct example of it.
Yeah.
But you could take the comma one's softer, right? But that's more of a deeper intel reading. But the Comey comment he's making of I wanted Comey and company to look into the leaks, that's exactly what I'm talking about. He's telling Comey, we know what you're doing there. I don't think that's a stretch.
I'm trying to find who he was responding to in this tweet, because the date that he said the Oxford commas thing was obviously after the Oxford comma investigation was opened. I would wager that he knew it was called Oxford comma.
For sure.
And I'm curious who he was responding to.
Who wrote that article?
Back to that page. From Axios.
Axios. One of the companies that is being sued by Trump, by the way.
Yep, that's true. Does he say?
Kind of interesting.
He does have an Oxford comma on his.
What a gross thing.
Yeah, I'm searching his Wayback Machine, but ever since like X took over, the Wayback Machine has different. Like you have to go to twitter.com and then try to find the status, where right now it's like x.com, so it makes it super challenging. And I'm trying to find the specific post from him. What was the date of this again?
Who's the author 2nd. Of that? Was that an op-ed by James Comey himself?
No, it's Mike Allen.
Mike Allen.
But somebody responded to it about. Let me put this in here. 92607. Actually, I wonder if. Let's try it this way.
So Mike Allen was the interviewer.
Ooh, I might have it here.
Mike Allen. Let me look.
Let's see if this works. Oh, shoot. Wayback Machine got real stupid. Does not work like it used to. Oh, Steve Niles CBC is the one who did it. Look at this. Steve Niles CBC. Who the hell is Steve Niles? And why would he delete that?
Yeah. I'm all about,
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it might be interesting. Like, what if it was somebody part of the investigation and it was like a little, but I guess that ended up not being. Anyway, I think that's all I have on the new documents, but there is something I lied. I want to show you something John Solomon said today on Bannon.
I think Mike Allen interviewed Trump, but let me try to find that.
Yeah, you see if you can find that. I'm going to pull up this clip from Bannon today. Bannon Solomon. The full clip is, if you go to Bannon's War Room on Rumble, the full 13-minute clip is there. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just going to play the end of it here.
As of this point, this posse, I think.
Do you think Todd is being held up because they?
Oh, actually, yeah, this stuff is juicy right here.
To the lawyers who've looked, according to the lawyers who've looked at the documents.
You talk about the weapon. You talk about the weaponization fund. Everybody got rolled up into the Mueller thing with millions of dollars of legal. It's outrageous.
Yep.
Are we going to go? Or do you see a path here to indictments and perp walks and hey, yo, Cash, how about just letting go today, sending out an email? Half of the FBI just goes home permanently. Your thoughts, John Solomon?
Listen, I'm gonna take my hat off as the chairman of the White House Task Force. That's what I was talking about in these documents. I'm going to go back to being a reporter for a second. I do not know this information from anything I've gained in government. I can tell you with 100% certainty that Republicans are obstructing the investigation into weaponization. There are two.
Did you catch that? Pay attention here. He is saying that Republicans. Let me rewind it, BB. It looked like you weren't paying attention. This is important.
No, I'm spurging.
Stop spurging. Pay attention.
Information from anything I've gained in government. I can tell you with 100% certainty that Republicans are obstructing the investigation into weaponization. There are two Republicans I can name by name, Senator John Thune and Senator Tom Cotton. They have refused for months. 4 months now. The first request came in late January, early February. They are refusing thus far to provide to Joe DeGenova, to the prosecutors in Florida, to the Miami U.S. Attorney, to the Justice Department, the transcripts of John Brennan's interviews with the Senate Intelligence Committee. They have refused to do so. I'm going to call out a third name because I don't understand the Justice Department's behavior. When a body that's separate of the executive branch doesn't comply, every other time in American history, go back to Iran-Contra, go back to Watergate, the Justice Department subpoenas the Congress. For some reason, the acting Attorney General, who wants to be the permanent Attorney General, has not authorized a subpoena to the United States Senate to get those documents. Those documents will allow the prosecutors in Miami to decide whether the charges are warranted against John Brennan. The idea that Republican senators will not cooperate with the Republican administration is ridiculous politically, but it's illegal. It's obstruction. There ought to be a grand jury subpoena sitting in the Senate clerk's office. There ought to be a court case yesterday compelling this because the Justice Department has been delayed by 8 months by two Republican senators who have the responsibility and the ability to deliver this. You want to get to the grand conspiracy case, you need the missing evidence, and the Senate possesses it. And as of this date, I can find no evidence they've turned it over. And there is no grand jury subpoena because the clerk of the Senate would have to report it publicly. I just checked the congressional record again today. So Todd Blanche, Tom Cotton, John Thune, you got some explaining to do to the War Room posse, I think.
So there's more I want to play, but that's pretty fascinating for a lot of. I mean, it's not surprising by any means. Like we've talked shit about Republicans and Todd. I've been on the anti-Blanche train for a while now. Like I think he's been part of the Epstein op against Trump. I think he's been part of like the declassified. Like there's multiple steps along the way. The IRS fund. I don't think he's an ally of Trump. I just really don't. And if we're being honest about it, like most of the people that have been put in these big roles, like the Attorney General for Trump, have all kind of turned out to suck.
Yep.
I mean, even Bill Barr, like I've been a Bill Barr fan for a long time. And the more stuff that comes out, it's like, well, that sucked. Like, what the hell's going on?
Gets a little shaky.
Yeah. But he's like directly calling them out. And so what does that mean about our cheerleading for these people? And like, John Thune, all he needs to do is pass the Save America Act and end the filibuster and we could save the world. Apparently he doesn't want to work or do any favors for Trump. That's the story John Solomon is telling.
And I know we're a broken record with this and it hurts like one person's feelings every time. But this is really why the cheerleading, the anti-cheerleading stance that we have, even if we don't always agree on what constitutes that, but specifically with these figures, as Chris would say, TV characters, the get out of jail free card that decoders in the truth community give themselves, especially in the Q community, don't mind saying it, is to retroactively, once it is confirmed in the public record that somebody like a John Thune is a traitor to Trump and was never on board, they get to say, well, we then found that out. So patriots were in control, therefore it doesn't matter. And therefore, we still trust the plan. Okay, but when people like Badlands, and by people like Badlands, I mean only Badlands, questions the people in real time who are going against Trump, very provably and obviously, we are demonized by the Q community for doing that in real time. And then I know this should be obvious, but it's not obvious to people yet. But maybe with this situation, people can kind of clip this out and look back on it in 3 months when all the Q decoders then tell you, we knew this person was bad. Well, then why were you attacking the people who were saying that they were impeding Trump's agenda rather than helping the agenda? I've been writing some briefs on some actual briefs on my Substack recently. One of the ones I wrote for tomorrow is called the Democrat Doom Loop, and kind of all about what we're seeing. They are describing it themselves as a two-front war they're fighting now, one against MAGA, one against the Democratic Socialists, which we've talked about the last few weeks. The point of that article, though, is not about owning the Democrats. It's about diagnosing the death of the Democratic Party, which I think is finalized. They're buried. My hope with that is not really about the Democrats. Where I turn that article is to say, now, what I hope is, with the Democrat Party in such disarray, can Trump get his base to start looking at the real enemy, meaning the more powerful enemy, being the Republican Party? And what my challenge is to this audience. We've been talking about that
for a long time.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a long time. And my challenge to this audience would be, it's not everybody, but some people, earnestly, stop using the term rhino. Stop using the term fake Republican. The Republicans are the bad guys. The Republican Party are the bad guys. The Republicans in Congress are the bad guys. And obviously, we don't know if all of them are. Just like there could be good Democrats. But this is the type of thing that when you rely on something like rhino, what are you implying? Are you implying that every single Republican in 2004 was a good guy? Because you didn't call them rhinos. And that's the terminology I think we need to get away from. And this kind of stuff the other positive reading of what Solomon's saying, to your point, his posture, I think is encouraging. Because they would have talked around this stuff, it feels like, in the recent past. Oh, there's some Republicans that aren't really getting on board. But the fact that he's naming them and everything, and you can, Chris talks about this. I know you and Chris talk about this kind of stuff a lot on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
Other ways of reading why Trump is elevating certain figures in the public narrative not only does not imply these figures are secret white hats, it often implies the polar opposite. And the big problem is, one of the ironies, and Ghost has actually been making this point a lot, you could argue that there are a lot of MAGA normies who are further ahead on the Republicans are the problem than truthers, because truth community people have convinced themselves that all the Republicans that Trump endorses are secret white hats. So what I'm hoping is, and I think we're going to get this, probably surrounding the midterms, is I think Trump has been playing a game of chicken with these Republicans. Not with the Democrats. I think he's joking around with the Democrats because they're dead. They're socialists now. They don't know what's going on. Bernie Sanders is their leader again. Kamala Harris is making phone calls to Mamdani about campaign advice for 2028, guys. They're done. Like, there's no more monster under the bridge. Under the bed, whatever you want to say. So when do the remaining Republicans publicly turn on Trump? And that's what I've been feeling like in 2026 is part of what we've been even bitching about, in fairness, in 2026, is part of this bait for Trump to get those Republicans to step out onto the ledge and say, Donald Trump is the problem and MAGA is the problem. And in full view of the MAGA base. Because sometimes it feels that way with some of these higher profile Republicans.
Yeah, the Republican Party, I would say, you said they are the enemy, and that's true, but they're not the only enemy. They are the Republican side of the controlled opposition dynamic. Like, when you hate everything about the Democrats, you're just funneled right into the Republican Party. And it is interesting that Tucker Carlson and, like, who else? Marjorie Taylor Greene and all those people, they had a meeting and they're supposedly setting up a new party. And the whole party idea is just so stupid. I talked about this the other day on my show. It needs to be completely destroyed. And I agree with you that the Democratic Party is destroyed, with the caveat here being if we had legitimate elections. Because as long as we don't have elections.
In the public mind, kind of, yeah.
And that goes for everybody. The whole label of being a Republican, whatever, doesn't matter. As long as our elections are fraudulent, we're not getting any candidate in there. And it's not even so. Even if we fix our election system and how we run elections, unless we fix the party system and how the campaigns are set up and who gets allowed on the ballots, it's still not perfect, because the people that you're legitimately electing at that point are even being selected for you. Like, again, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. There's so many freaking issues with all this, but yeah, John Solomon calling out Thune, Senator Cotton, and Senator Cotton, I think, wasn't it Tucker Carlson a few months ago was calling him out for other various reasons?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like Tom Cotton, and I agree. But then Todd Blanche.
That third party thing, you know, I'm certainly not going to get on the secret white hat rug with that, although it wouldn't surprise me. And again, what does that mean? What I would mean by secret white hat in that context would be, can I nurse a theory that MTG and Tucker Carlson and whoever else, Thomas Massey, I think that was the other big name, are operating on Trump's behalf in a fifth gen warfare manner? Yeah, I can. I don't think that that's ridiculous in everything that we've seen. But where I don't go, where a lot of people go, is, first of all, you can't take that to the bank, and you should not take that to the bank.
No.
Second, what would be the end goal? And that, I think, is the better conversation to have. If the end goal is to create a new America First, the America Party, and that's supposed to save American politics, I think, even if this is a white hat op, I think that's the wrong interpretation of what the op is. I don't think the op is to create a new party to replace the Republican Party. I think it's to create a DSA for the right to destroy the Republican Party.
Isn't that what MAGA is, though?
Well, MAGA is a movement. And that's what my point is, that if we end up with, oh, now we've got the America Party and we're saved, that's a mistake. I totally agree with what you said about we don't want to be dealing with political parties. If the America Party is being used as a PAC, Ash was writing about PACs in the brief this week.
Yeah.
A political action committee.
We're going to start our own, by the way, badpac.com.
Oh, that's great.
I did buy the domain already, so we have to do it.
Which, by the way, last week there was reporting that Elon Musk is planning to basically back up the truck toward a MAGA PAC, and I'm guessing it's this one. And instead of everybody freaking out,
what do you mean?
Elon Musk is going to apparently deploy a shit ton of money into the midterm cycle and into the 2028 cycle on behalf of MAGA. But everybody's assuming, oh, Republican candidates. But then this news hits a few days later.
You think he's going to be supporting like Tucker?
I think, yeah.
The rumor is Tucker is actually lining up to run for president in 2028. And this is the same thing I'm going to say about the Flynn from earlier this week. I don't know if you guys saw the clip I put out about Flynn, because everybody's been freaking out about that. I do think the Patrick Byrne saying Flynn should run in 2028, I do think that's an op. And I think talking about anybody running in 2028 is an op, because I'm still all on board the Trump 2028 thing. And I'm fully, until Trump takes that completely off the table, which I'm not sure he ever actually will. I don't see any reason to move on and start exploring different candidates for president. So Tucker, Flynn, whoever it is, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that bolsters the point I'm making, which is that my read of, even if the America Party, the third party idea, would be a Trump op, what's the point of the op? I don't think it's to endorse the America Party and to make it be the future leaders of the country. I think it's to destroy the Republican Party, to force them into, because what's happening on the left right now is actually fascinating. If you get away from what we just said about the Democrat Party is dead effectively, if it weren't for fake elections, I agree with that. I think that's the case. But the dialectic right now on the left is actually fascinating, because there's an identity crisis that's good. It's a good identity crisis. You have people right now in 2026 that pay attention to politics, that are leftards or liberals, whatever, earnest liberals, who are being forced to define themselves on one side of an intra-liberal binary, a controlled opposition dynamic within the liberal side of the equation, which is forcing them to basically come to terms with, what do you mean when you call yourself a liberal? And I think that's actually good. And what a lot of them are, I mean normal people, not politicians, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm saying normal people watching the politicians all fight with each other. Kamala Harris fighting with like Mamdani and this El Sayad guy. I think Trump is cheerleading it because he knows not only is the Democratic Party dead from a mandate perspective, but the Democrats are looking at this being like, I'm not a communist. It's like, well, are you sure? Because you're a Democrat. And it looks like a lot of you are communists now. And we need that on the right, is my argument. So if you have an America Party that comes in, I don't want them to win elections. I want America Party candidates arguing with Republicans and challenging the Republicans to define what that is.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we've really had that. You can say MAGA, but there's one MAGA candidate, and it's been Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You know, so that's like, I don't think it's the future of American politics. What I'm hoping is that Trump's great legacy will be the dissolution of the political parties. And I could just see this third party as a low-key means of doing so. And by the way, last point, I can't get away from the just never to be confirmed idea that the DSA is being boosted by Trump and by people behind Trump because it's too good for them.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think that's definitely possible. I mean, we haven't had proof of it, obviously.
No.
But also, I believe that there are people out there that actually believe and support that stuff, as there has been throughout history. So I don't know, man. As long as they have the control of the election systems, why would they not throw communists in there and let them win some election cycles and start slowly trickling that stuff in? Like, it makes total sense. But yeah, I agree. I think Trump does. He will not have succeeded if the Republican Party is standing in its current form when he leaves office. And there's a lot of things that you could argue Trump will have not succeeded if XYZ is still, like, a lot that still needs to be done. But anyway, I want to finish the rest of this clip.
Do you think Todd is being held up because it's almost like blackmail? They won't vote for him for confirmation if
I
he
don't know.
forces the issue here to turn this over. I mean, Tom Cotton's the senator, not from Arkansas. He's the senator from the deep state. That's who he represents, the deep state. You know it. I know everybody in D.C. knows it. You can understand. And Thune, this is once again, while we must have the Save America Act, he just thumbed his nose at the president. Now they're talking about a CR that's going to basically institutionalize the $2 trillion of deficits every year. That's what Thune and the donor class are worried about. They're not worried about this, John. They don't. This is my point. They don't put priorities on what the people that support President Trump the most and the grassroots leaders and the grassroots warriors that go door to door. This is what they want to see. This is a super high priority for them, and it just gets laughed off, sir.
Listen, all I know is that the Attorney General has the power to do this. Other Attorney Generals have done it in history. Watergate, Iran-Contra, Whitewater. The President is the leader of the free world. Todd Blanche, Kash Patel, Joe DeGenova, report to him. He has a good question to ask him today. My reporting has authenticated this. They ought to do their job and get this evidence and let the American people know whether crimes were committed. Tomorrow, we'll be able to come on your show and show you the other side of this. While you go after Donald Trump without evidence, you protect people who did things that Democrats don't want out. You're going to see the flip side of this wash, rinse, repeat cycle tomorrow. We'll come back and tell you about it tomorrow.
New documents tomorrow with Christian music playing in the background. He announces it. We're going to see the flip side of it, he says. You saw them going after Donald Trump. Now they're protecting the people going after Donald Trump. I'm curious to see what it is because I'm wondering if it's another thing we already got. But regardless, I'm coming back down to like the story they're telling and the story they've been telling going back to when they released the Chinese documents. And this is the exact story that I was hoping they would tell, is the story of the corrupt and weaponized intelligence community. Let me play this clip one more time, as I do almost every week now.
Don't forget, this persecution is being done by the same weaponized agencies that for 7 years have been running illegal psychological warfare campaigns against the American people, much as if they were trying to destabilize a foreign country. From the Russian...
I can go on, but that is the target of the stories that are being told. Rerun stories. That's the thing. So why the rerun? Why now? And what is the conclusion to the story they're going to tell? And he says there's going to be like multiple things throughout the next couple of weeks, almost something every day. I'm just curious what they're building up to, right? Like if they're going to be doing this, and then they just stop and nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that'd be kind of a letdown. Like it'd be, if anything, that'd piss more people off. Like you're going to sit here again and tell us the same stories, or at least show us new stories or whatever of all the bad things that were done against Trump and against the American people and all the BS we've had to live through. Like if you're not going to do anything about it, why even bother telling us at this point? Like, what are you building towards? So I'm curious to see what it is they're building towards.
Yeah,
that's all I
got. I was thinking about the midterm cycle in that context of I'm just wondering. I'm less wondering what's gonna. I don't give a shit what happens in the midterms in terms of what we're told about on the back of the fake election. But I am interested in the midterms as a gravitational black hole around which all of the narratives of 2026 orbit.
Yeah.
You know, the pull, it's like this pull at the end of the year. And we've felt it since January. Then it recedes a bit. The Iran war narrative obviously sucked up a lot of the oxygen in the room. It's dissipated, the Iran war narrative, even though it's basically in the same pattern. It's in the same holding pattern we've been talking about the entire time. So it hasn't changed materially at all, which also tells you something about how real or fake things are, and how important things are depends entirely on how bored or not bored the American people are by a given narrative.
Exactly.
Because nothing has changed at all in a material way. Although, we might get an announcement tomorrow. But
is that what they're saying, that they might announce?
Well, they
said
there'd be an announcement today. When you guys are seeing this Wednesday, and there was not. The latest I've seen on it, which I will pull, I think, an interesting nugget out of this. You've got Scott Bessent and Donald Trump both saying that a deal is imminent. Nothing's new there. The contours of the deal that are being, at least of a temporary agreement, that are being disseminated through all the usual suspects, including Axios. I think they actually had the scoop on it. Is that Iran... Sorry?
Barack Ravid?
I didn't see... Well, I don't know if it's him, but he wasn't named as a source. But
was he the one who wrote it?
I don't think so. I'm not sure though. Let me see if they have it listed. Let me see. Yes, you're right. It is Barack Ravid.
Of course.
So the
story being told is exactly what Trump wants you to think. Like he's an op.
Which actually helps the point along. Because what's being reported is that the contours of the deal, on a temporary arrangement at least, is going to be that Iran and Oman will split basically management duties of the Strait of Hormuz to renormalize traffic. The response to that rumor by the media is what's telling to me. They're basically saying, the media is saying, if this happens, this will represent an abject failure for Donald Trump because it will leave Iran with more international legal control over the Strait of Hormuz than they had before the conflict. Now, if you talk to somebody like me or Ghost, we would say that's been the point the whole time. And if you think we're getting out of the Iran war with Iran having less power than they do now, I don't think you understand what's going on. And obviously this is a theory, but I think it should tell you something that the media is worried about Iran having more control over their sovereign territory. I think that is one of the big reasons why this is going on, because I think it's a disentanglement operation that I've been saying for 6 months.
Yeah.
But this is part of why the narrative is being stretched so far. But, the point I was making about the midterms is related to this, which is that we're getting close to November and the gravity is picking up with the midterms. And the opportunity there, in my view, is a few months ago, I did say, I think Trump is going to put a bow on this Iran conflict because optically for the midterms, it won't look good. I think I was wrong about that. And I've basically totally inverted my view now. I've started to believe that Trump is intentionally taking a page out of The Art of War, and he is choosing 2026, just like he chose 2022, to appear very weak in the context of the Republican Party. He's the one who keeps kickstarting and restarting the Iran war narrative. And that is what the only narrative from my perspective, the only narrative that I've seen like establishment Republicans confidently attack Donald Trump over is the Iran war. And I think that he's trying to stretch that all the way to the point of the midterms. And that doesn't mean we'll be in the same exact situation with Iran, but, you know, it makes me just wonder. I don't think Trump gives a shit about the midterms, but I think he does want to use the midterms as an example of, I want you and the MAGA core to observe how many of these Republicans turn on me on the eve of the midterms, just like they did in 2022.
Interesting, because I don't think he wants to have the midterms. I don't think he cares, or I don't think he needs to.
Yeah.
I hope he cancels it. I think if like, what's the point of talking about election fraud? What's the point of exposing election fraud if you're never going to do anything about it? Like, I think it's if they're building to anything with all these D-class stories, I really hope it's to some sort of impetus to issue national emergency and cancel the midterms. I don't give a shit about the Iran war. Even like you talking about it just now, like, bored the shit out of me. I just don't care.
I'm talking about the fake Iran war, man, not the real one.
It doesn't matter what it is. It's the same thing until something changes, and guess what? Nothing ever changes.
Even if the example, he's driving everybody crazy. That's the op.
And exactly, I'm not participating. Like, you talking about it is falling for the op. You tune out until something changes. That's my opinion on that right now. But yeah, you're right. It is an attack point against the Trump administration, just like gas prices are and all these other things. And for me, like, whether or not Trump is deliberately like withholding the actual like peace part of it until something else happens, I don't necessarily think it's election related. I think there's some other geopolitical thing in play that needs to be sorted out. Maybe it's the Ukraine war. Maybe it's something to do with Netanyahu. Maybe it's something with Syria. Maybe it's something like, I don't know. I really don't know. And so I don't really care until we find out, because like what I learned early on about the Iran war is, number one, my people did not appreciate my take on it. Like, I don't want to be involved in a foreign war, which seems so crazy, but I still support President Trump. And I know he's like up to something, right? I can't spell it exactly what it is. And everybody who is like, this war is only going to last 2 weeks because Trump said so, you guys look retarded, because obviously the war, real or fake, has been going on for like, what, 4 months now? 5 months?
Yeah, 5, 6, going on 6 months.
6 months. Yeah. And, it'll be done in 2 weeks. Just trust Trump, trust Trump. And I do trust Trump. That doesn't mean you guys know anything about what you're talking about, but that's completely besides the point. I don't know what he's fully trying to accomplish over there. I don't know what like has to be accomplished in terms of the actual peace part being carried out, but I think he is more so fighting a proxy war against Israel than he is. Like, I love.
But everything you're saying, ironically, is what I find so fascinating about it. My point is that it's all of the above of what you said, and that Trump, on a narrative level, I'm talking purely on a narrative level. I don't think it matters about the actual midterm elections. So that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying the narrative of the perpetuation of the Iran war has driven so many people crazy and Trump knows it and doesn't care and is keeping it going. And I think he's keeping it going because he wants those responses. Like, he wants Republicans, governments, globalists, pick your oil companies, to turn against him in a very public manner. That's just one example. That's just on a narrative level. But again, it's the only pattern I've noted on the GOP regarding the Iran war is it seems to be the only thing that are comfortable criticizing Trump about. And the longer he plays that threat out, I wonder how bold some of them are going to get. You know, if you just think about it hypothetically, if we're in late October and like this pattern is just still going, which we could easily see,
Yeah.
Of every week, Scott, you roll like a different administration official out, and they're like, "Yeah, there's a deal today," but there's not actually. And he just does that through October. How many of these guys are going to be like, "He's weak. The American people are sick of this, and let's go like concentrate fire on the Trump agenda."
Yeah.
I don't think he needs any of this to happen. I think all that I've been saying for years with Iran, with Russia, whatever, I think the deals are done. It's just what. So then my question and what I think about is why keep the story going? Not why keep the actual going. Why keep the story going? And I don't know why, but
maybe you're onto something, because something we've talked about a lot is the issue with the cheerleading and like how that's actually holding us back, right? And maybe it's not so much about the politicians themselves like turning on Trump, but maybe he wants you people constantly cheerleading him to finally grow a pair and be like, okay, Trump, I actually don't agree with this. Because if life after Trump, whatever that looks like these people who just rely on everything that Trump does is good, everything Trump says is gospel, they're kind of screwed. They cannot think for themselves. And at some point, Trump needs to teach them how to think for themselves, or at least they need to figure it out, whatever. Maybe him like upsetting those people and making them look like fools for continually like saying everything about what he's doing is great is going to be a good wake up call for them. And then he can flip it on later for 2028.
Well, another way, take what you just said and now think about 2028 without Donald Trump.
I don't want to.
I don't want to.
I want to.
That and beyond. One theory I've started playing with is if this is to be the last act of Donald Trump as the president, and if our discussion tonight, if he agrees with damaging or destroying the political parties, like I've been using the villain you need refrain for over a year, but I use that as like a cute refrain regarding the Sovereign Alliance, but I've started to take it a little bit more literally in one corner of my mind to be like, have I underestimated how much of the villain Donald Trump is going to be that we need, which would be the Batman template? Is he going to leave office? It's just something to play with. Is Trump going to leave office with the Democratic Party destroyed? Because it basically is. They're just communists now. And the Republican Party completely compromised, having thrown in with the perception of a new forever war and all these things they said they weren't going to support. So it could be the literal opposite of what I said on this episode of like, he's daring the Republicans, to your point, to challenge him, and none of them are. He can leave office and be like, man, it got a little crazy back there. All those Republicans were really stumping for war with Iran. But I don't think we should have done that.
I don't know. Him leaving as the villain, I mean...
He's never going to be to me.
It's an interesting theory.
To the normies of Gotham City.
I feel like we need the culmination of the story to be like... Because if we fix things, if Trump leaves office while fixing things... How does he do that, leaving as the villain? Because fixing things would be like exposing the election fraud. Trump was right about all this stuff. Trump didn't actually collude with Russia. Like, if he leaves without fixing those things, that would be how he leaves as a villain. And if he does that, then we're screwed. If by the time he's done, we haven't fixed our election system, what do we do?
A wise man once said, John, that where we're going, we don't need elections. And that would be the ultimate.
Was that G-Money who said that?
I don't know, but I assume it was one of them. One of that cohort of extremists within Badlands. But I'm just playing. It's like a hedged bet. Just put one chip on it. One chip on the villain refrain, and the point of it would be everything you just said is right. If you're some kind of cuck who thinks we need elections in the United States in the future.
Yeah, but that's
if
gay.
If you don't think we need elections, then maybe Trump is trying to destroy trust in the U.S. government. I would not bet on anything I said being accurate, but who knows? These are the These are the thoughts in the deep recesses
of the brain's mind.
Trump could just, here's what I don't think we've ever offered this directly. He should just come on the DPH.
I would love
Right.
that. We will do I'll interview on DPH, and I'll even tell Bernie Brett not to join that episode.
Let's have Trump on next Wednesday night. We'll see what the schedule's looking like. And, we'll just ask him.
Yeah, we'll try our best.
Clear all this up.
I've reached out through every avenue I could to try to get a hold. And granted, it's not many avenues.
Have you just contacted him directly?
Yeah, I shot him a text, sent him a couple messages on True Social and Twitter. No, I know people who know people, and I'm like, hey man, can you try? And he's like, I'll try my best to get this in front of Trump. Didn't happen. I've tried, obviously, like, hey, maybe if I make a video, it'll go viral, and then that'll get his attention, and he'll do it. That didn't work. I've reached out through the website, the contact thing on the website, multiple times, multiple emails. I have gotten the email of Trump's during Trump's campaign. Multiple people on his campaign staff emailed, no responses.
We should do the ghost approach and just send him a physical drawing, not even a letter, a drawing.
A drawing of an invite
of
to
him
the DPH.
on the DPH.
A stick figure drawing. We could try it.
You and us on the DPH, because Ghost sent he did a drawing of the moat.
Yep.
In front of the wall.
I don't think he got
nailed
anything.
it in. I just want to picture Ghost like going to the post office and.
Yeah. Well, I do know if you send a letter in, they have people who are hired and they have canned response. They will respond to you and give you a letter, and he'll like stamp sign it or whatever, and that is used as confirmation of everything you've ever said or believed, because I've seen that go around Twitter before. So maybe we should do that.
Okay. Can you sign this episode of the Devolution Power Hour
and confirm we're right about everything?
Yeah.
Yes, we'll do that. Anyway, man, what else should we no, it's actually 11:20, and I'm flying out to Florida tomorrow, so maybe we should go through boosts and rants. I don't want to give you any. No, don't you dare.
Hold on. This is a nice little button, because let it not be forgotten that the same day Solomon is Russia collusioning.
Yeah.
We've got the FBI publicly announcing that they are working with Russian intelligence, which I just thought was a little bit of a chef's kiss wink.
Yeah, I talked about that on my show today, by the way. So anybody
Nobody watched that.
who watched my show today, you already got that lowdown. It's funny, like China, Russia, both enemies, both historic. Like one side, the Republicans are saying China's the ones who interfered in the election.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrats and left, it's Russia who interfered in the election. And then Kash Patel FBI is like, hey, let's go get some transnational criminals. How do you feel about that?
Yeah.
I likened it to what if back during World War One or two, we'll do two, the FBI was working with Nazi Germany to fight transnational crime, because that's kind of like what they're framing it as. But anyway, you got the boost pulled on, man?
I do.
By the way, guys, if you could do us a favor and go over to YouTube and hit the like button, for those of you on Rumble, I promise it actually helps us out. It's been very helpful. We've been stealing some of that YouTube money over there because of you guys doing that for us, taking advantage of it. So do us that favor. And thanks again earlier to Elizabeth Villa LTA 8906 for gifting us 200 joules.
Joules?
I don't know what that means, but
Is that YouTube?
yeah, it's some form of I don't even know. Don't know.
We have our old faithful 1027JS sending $20 over. Happy birthday, John. Thanks to both of you for all the work you do.
Thank you, Joe, my fellow North Dakotan. Didn't we have another one from last week? Or no, I read that one already, the one for the whole company. And thanks again. I saw a couple out here I forgot to read on the Daily Herold. I'll read those tomorrow. Some of the happy birthday wishes. Reminder that those of you, the birthday wishes are great. The best thing you can give me is supporting us with some soft disclosure. Softdisclosure.com, promo code birthday. I'm going to play our final soft disclosure ad real quick.
Court is now in session.
Your Honor, the defense calls Mr. Dry Skin, G Money, to the stand.
We're gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
Mr. Dryskin, isn't it true that soft disclosure is proudly made right here in the United States while directly supporting 6 American small businesses?
I reckon.
Isn't it also true that soft disclosure is made with honest, natural ingredients without the harsh chemicals so many people are trying to avoid?
Unfortunately,
And isn't it true it's made with the help of adorable baby goats?
can't argue with the goats.
The court reminds the gallery that livestock will conduct themselves appropriately.
Bless your flaky little heart, Mr. Dryskin. Your Honor, the defense would like to submit Exhibit A.
Proceed.
Cindy H. writes, honestly, the best lotion I've ever used.
Exhibit A is admitted.
Exhibit B, I use it on my face and hands, get compliments on looking much younger.
Mr. Drake, I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Not greasy at all. Clean feel compared to other lotions. Vanilla citrus has a nice light scent.
Well, that is just showing off.
Tyrone writes, I find myself hydrating my elbows and moisturizing my soul a lot more frequently now. The defense rests.
I say there will be order in this court.
Softdisclosure.com. Promo code birthday, 17% off because of my awesome decodes. So you're welcome, everybody. Let's do some rants here. The Final Demand said for $20, thank you, Final Demand, and he gifted 5 subs, which is truly appreciated. Grok told me Comey was a big fan of the Oxford comma, that the O in Oxford is actually a 0, so it wouldn't show up in searches. He left.
Interesting that Grok would say that.
Oxford is a deliberate, this is his post. Oxford is a deliberate misspelling of Oxford, primarily known recently as part of the FBI code name Oxford comma, sometimes rendered Oxford comma with a 0 in place of the letter O. So thank you for sending that in. That sure is interesting how often they were misspelling things on purpose. Counterinsurgent for $5. Grok tells me that the devolution theory is a QAnon adjacent theory, and then immediately talks about John Herold. It goes on to call it a conspiracy theory. It always does.
Well, John himself is QAnon adjacent. Or was that?
I mean, the New York Times. I'm trying to remember. The New York Times said I was a QAnon leading promoter. QAnon
said
adjacent.
I was a promoter. I think you were like a higher level.
No.
Was I?
I think I was the promoter, bro.
Oh. I was named in one of them. I finally made it.
Yeah, so here last week the NPR called me QAnon adjacent. This week the New York Times calls me a QAnon promoter. It's true, I'm basically a nightclub promoter, but for QAnon.
I was in one of those. I don't remember which one, but I don't think I was a promoter. Maybe I was though.
I don't know. You're probably
QAnon adjacent, maybe something like that. Influencer.
Oh yeah, influencer. I've gotten that one too.
Yeah.
Phil Scarborough, good to see you, man. Thank you for the rant. $5, something for the tip jar. Keep up the great work. We do our best.
Hates the Chinese.
That's okay. You can't trust the people with the squinty eyes like that, man. I totally get it.
I don't trust them. I don't trust them either. That's okay.
Keith Higgins, we know because of the Michael Sussman trial that the Democrats had offices on 7th floor. Where the hell were Republicans? Probably in broom closets, ladybug and burn bags. Love it. Keith Higgins, I think John Solomon is finally happy. He's like a fat kid who finds out there's a Sunday bar at the buffet restaurant. You know what? I haven't been to a true buffet restaurant like Golden Corral or something in forever.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised you don't hear about like diarrhea pandemics more often surrounding buffets. You only hear about them talking about lettuce.
I was talking smack to Mrs. Bright tonight because I cooked tacos. And I don't put green stuff in my tacos. It's just all meat and onions and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, where's your lettuce? And she was like, oh, I haven't been buying it because the stuff I usually buy was on the shit yourself list. And I said, people who don't eat green stuff don't have these problems.
I feel like that's not true.
It was true in that one moment.
In that one moment, it might have been true.
Yep.
And then the Final Demand gifted another $50. Thank you so much, man. Says this is the best Wednesday DPH episode to date.
What? That's
quite the compliment. John drops a legit decode proving he's QAnon adjacent. And BB perfectly explains we have it all. Patriots in control. Thank you.
Oh, no.
Thank you.
That's the best episode where QAnon adjacent and Patriots in control. You're like, Chris will be like, what did you do? What did you two do on Wednesday?
See, that's all we got to do, man, is just start that hopium train with the decodes.
But all of you should remember that disinfo is necessary, even us, even tonight.
And my outro video, I'm going to play my Flynn commentary from the other day because I still think it's important. And I don't know if you want to add any context to it. I know you had a post on it earlier.
I just liked the video, but I'm going to be totally honest. I didn't pay attention to any of that.
The drama?
Yeah, like I know very little about why people are upset about anything, but I can infer that it's retarded.
It is retarded.
And there's a lot of people doing struggle sessions and like unity purity tests, I think is how you put it.
Yeah.
And
I think it said loyalty test, but I meant purity test.
Yeah, I get it.
Close enough.
And for sure. It's fun watching people twist themselves into knots, though, that, you know, are the ones that have been giving everybody purity tests, but now they're saying we shouldn't be fighting with each other. It's like, nobody's fighting with anybody. It's just you guys. Yeah. Literally, it's just you. So when you call everybody a secret white hat and then attack anybody who says anything about anybody that you like, these are the prizes you win.
And they're very stupid prizes. But the thing is, like, another rerun. We do this with the various characters every week. New character defend. Like, it's so stupid. Sometimes maybe it's not every week. Sometimes it's every month. And anytime there's a big news story that looks bad about one of their characters that they have to defend, they've built their identity around these people being certain things, and so they have to excommunicate anybody who doesn't agree and defend that person till they're blue in the face. And we never find out if any of them are actually good or bad until they die and their casket has an iron flake on it or not. So it's also stupid.
Right.
But we're gonna get out of here. BB, it was fun. When are you on next? What's the movie this week?
Tomorrow night, we're doing a great one. If you guys have not checked this out, or if you avoided it because you thought it would be propaganda, it's on Netflix called Wake Up Dead Man. Josh Brolin, Josh O'Connor, Daniel Craig. It is a murder mystery. It's the third one in the Rian Johnson written and directed Knives Out trilogy. You do not have to watch the other two. These are completely standalone murder mysteries. This one takes place in a church. It's got like InfoWar coding in it. I thought really good arguments and discussions about faith that were not subversive to me. And just super well acted, super well produced, very fun one that the whole family can watch. So check it out. Wake Up Dead Man, Thursday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome. Looking forward to, I did like that movie quite a bit.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And I will be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern on the Daily Herald. It'll probably be a pre-record because I'm flying out to Florida tomorrow. I think I'm doing I don't know for sure about Friday. And I think you're covering for me on Saturday's Power Hour. So I'll be out of pocket. But again, if you're in the Florida area, want to come hang out in Jupiter, don't forget to RSVP Badlands meetups at gmail.com. And with that, if I can find where I put this outro video. Man, it would have been way better if I had this ready to go.
Well, while you're getting it, guys, go to badlands.substack.com. Ash and Ghost and I have been killing it lately, and we love your comments. You guys have been liking it more than ever, commenting more than ever. Some of you are signing up for paid subscriptions over there, more than you have last year, and we very much appreciate all of it. We do 5 briefs a week, and we also do an exclusive show. It's a 1-hour show that hits your email inbox on Saturday mornings with myself and Ash or Ghost. So check that out. It's all free. You only support us if you want to over there.
Awesome. And yes, guys, I encourage you all to also sign up and subscribe over there. Subscribe wherever you can. Great way to support Badlands Media. Is Ghost still broadcasting on the Substack? Yes, he is. Ghost did get a full-time job. He is tweaking some of his broadcast schedule, but he's still part of Badlands. He's still doing stuff. He's still participating, and he's still spurging out over the Jews every opportunity. So
And you will get more spurging out over that than anywhere on the Substack if you're into that.
Oh, funny. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you next time. Hit the thumbs up and see you tomorrow. Whatever the drama is about this, it comes down to the stupid loyalty tests again. And the truth community is notorious for these loyalty tests with these TV characters, when at the end of the day, nobody really knows on a personal level any of these people. Nobody actually knows them. Anybody defending them or not, like maybe they're acquaintances, maybe they're friends, but nobody knows like what's on their heart or any of that stuff. Like, how can you possibly say that he's a good guy or a bad guy? That's the thing. He's not my friend. I've texted him, I met him, like we've been friendly towards each other. He's not my enemy either. And like I haven't built my identity around him being a white hat or a bad guy, like either one. And so like I don't need to perform any outrage that I don't actually feel against him. And I don't need to like perform loyalty that I don't necessarily feel either. And like this is why it is so important, in my opinion, to not allow yourself to become emotionally attached to the stories that we see online and the characters who participate or are the subject of those stories. Because if you can separate yourself from that, you can remain mostly objective and actually like see the opposite that are going on, instead of wasting all your time defending something that you don't even actually know is worth defending, or attacking something that you don't actually know is worth attacking. I know people on both sides of that thing. Like some people don't trust him, some people do. I don't care. It's like I have no skin in that game. If Flynn comes out and ends up being like a bad guy, I'm not going to lose sleep over that, because I've not emotionally attached myself or built my identity around him being one thing or another. And like I saw the push from Patrick Byrne. That's an op, by the way. Like Flynn for president 2028. I obviously don't support that. And it's not because Flynn maybe he would be a great candidate, but my mind is not on that. My mind is on Trump 2028. And once that is completely ruled out, which I don't think it will be, but once that is actually completely off the table, then I'll start shopping around. I'll put my vote up for sale. My stolen vote up for sale. But right now, that's an op. That's an attempt to divide the movement. Whether Flynn is participating in that or not is probably yet to be determined. You have to leave the possibilities for multiple different outcomes open, and be okay with the fact that you may never see which outcome it ends up being. We may never know. Eventually might all just fade away. But like I'm saying, with not just Flynn, with everybody, you have to leave open the possibility that we're wrong about some of our baseline assumptions of who these people are.